What's going on? Ethan J here and welcome back to the channel. Today's video I'm going to be breaking down this graphic and showing you how to create a neon sign with all the shadows and highlights to go along with it. With a random Pokemon as well, because why not? Oh, before we start, I'm planning a new series called Collaboshop where I finish your started graphics. So if you want to take part in that, send your PSDs to collaboshop@ethanjdesign.com. It doesn't have to be sport, it could be anything you like, and there's no time limit because I want to make this an ongoing series. But yeah, with that all out of the way, let's jump into Photoshop and get started. Okay, so we're gonna start with a dark bluish background, something like this. This will really help the other colors pop out more. Then let's get a light blue solid, invert the mask, and just paint that in around the top edge here. And I'll duplicate that, get a nice Miami Vice pinky color, and color it in the same way down in the bottom corner. I'm going to use a smoke brush as well just to add in a little texture to these gradients. Then I have a Miami logo that I want to use as a background mask. So I'll scale this up, position it somewhere here. I'll get a selection of this and add that as our background gradients folder mask. And we're left with something that looks like this. Right, then I'm going to drop in our hero cutout. Put him somewhere in the middle. Then before we start anything, let's add in some camera raw so the photo doesn't look so bleh. I'll up the clarity and the dehaze and we should be good. Then I have this 3D version of the Miami logo that I made. I have a separate video talking about how I do all of my 3D stuff. So I add a little pop out thing. This side, I add a little pop out thing. So you can go check that video out because I'm not going to explain it here because it's going to take up way too much time. But yeah, we'll drop that into the main comp somewhere in the middle. Now I need to make this cutout look like it's actually in the scene. I'll get a copy of the dark blue background solid, clip it to the photo, and I'll change the underlying layer blend diff so that it all looks a bit more contrasty and the shadow colors match up with the background. Before I do any highlights, let's draw in our neon sign. So with the pen tool, I'll stencil out the neon light, something like this. Then we gotta set the fill to transparent, add a stroke and change that to about 15. And then I just gotta make any corrections that don't look quite right. After that, it's just rinse and repeat basically for the whole logo. So I'll skip ahead and get to the fun stuff. Okay, that's done. Now we just need to add in some glows to actually make this look like a neon sign. Just using an outer glow in layer styles, I'll create a blue one, create a layer from that, and then I'll make the exact same outer glow but pink, and I'll do the same thing, right click, create a layer with that as well. That way I can control these outer glows separately. I'll add a black mask to both of them and just paint in with a white brush on either side of the logo to give it a nice gradient from blue to pink. Then let's add another outer glow to the neon lettering but make it white and linear dodge like this. I added an inner glow too, but I don't really know why. Anyway, this still looks like absolute shit. And the only way to stop that is with a shed load more glows. So I'm gonna get those background blue and pink colors, set them to screen, and paint in those glows over the Miami sign. I'm gonna make the blue a bit darker and the same with the pink actually. And already this is looking better. There's no problems in Photoshop that can't be fixed with more glows. Trust me. I'm also going to add some exposure to the inside parts of this 3D logo too, so it really looks like the light is interacting with it. And I'll change the blend if a little, and I'll just paint that in like that. Hold up, before we carry on, I need to take a sec to tell you about a place where you can get all the assets for your designs that you could ever need. Of course, I'm talking about Envato Elements. It's somewhere that you can get access to millions of stock photos, graphic templates, and even custom 3D models, which in my opinion is the best part of the subscription. You can get a custom object, position it perfectly to fit your composition, and download a pre-cut out PNG. It's a really unique feature and perfect for designers. I've used all the paid stock asset sites out there during my 6-year career as a professional designer, and Envato Elements provides the best value for your money. And I was using their service way before my first video, way before the sponsorship, because what they offer is that good. Use my link down below to get 50% off your annual subscription. That's access to millions of assets with unlimited downloads for less than $20 a month. I love their assets, so I know you will as well. Click the link in my description if you're interested to learn more and take your graphics to the next level. And a big thank you to Envato Elements for sponsoring the video. Okay, now we need to add some highlights and light reflections to our cutout. I'll get a hue and saturation adjustment, set it to colorize, and pick a blue color similar to our glows. Again, change the blend if, invert the mask, and we'll paint this in where it needs to go. The photo already has some blue and pink lighting to it, but it looks a bit weak, and we need to crank this up a bit, especially with the pinks. There you go, like that. Now we need to add in an exposure adjustment, but turn it down. Change the blend if to show the highlights, and then we can paint in where we want our brighter areas to be on the mask. I use the shadows to make it look like there are no shadows, you know? Then one more exposure adjustment, but we'll turn it up this time and paint it into those same highlighted areas. Now he's looking like he actually belongs in the scene much more. I'll add some shadows underneath his feet with a flat and soft brush like this, and this is all starting to come together. I got this cool temple photo that I found, and I thought it would work quite well as a background element, so I'll add that into the back like this, turn down the saturation, and I'll change the layer style to soft light. I want to make this doorway down here really bright as well so it stands out. And to do that, I'll duplicate the temple photo and set this one to color dodge. I'll add an inverted mask and paint in around the door to create some highlights, like that. This person standing here is really an enemy of progress right now, but maybe if I add some glows, I can hide them. This isn't gonna work, is it? Nope, this isn't gonna work. Okay, let's go into the smart layer and see what we can do. Let's grab a selection of the right side, and maybe if we just copy it and flip it. Hey yo, Photoshop is easy, bro. What do you mean? All right, let's neaten up these edges a bit like this, and I think that will do. Cool. All right, I got these palm tree photos as well that I want to add to the top because it's Miami. You gotta add palm trees. And I'll desaturate those too, change them to soft light, and I'll add those into the background. Now, be prepared for this graphic to go left for no good reason. Well, you kind of already know because you've seen the thumbnail, but we're adding in a CHARIZARD. We're adding in a CHARIZARD to this graphic. Why? Because art. That's why. I'm gonna drop in all of the same color correction adjustments from our hero cutout. Then we just need to add back in the correct shadows and highlights. Let's make this eye super glowy like this. Then we just need to add the light reflections from the neon sign. So I'll just add that in here and on the blue side like that. I also want to add in some fire, like he's powering up for like a flamethrower or something, you know? So I'll paint in an orange and yellow glow, and then just neaten up the mask so that it actually looks like the glow is coming from his mouth. And I'll also add in some embers as well. I want to make his wings kind of glow as well, because right now they're looking kind of dark and dull. So using the pen tool, I'm going to get a selection of the wing area. There you go. Let's change that to a light bluey kind of color and set it to color dodge. Let's actually go lighter with the blue. Something like this is perfect. Then we just need to make it actually look like it's glowing with a solid color set to screen, and I'll just paint that in. All right, now the fire tail thing that he's got going on would definitely cause some light reflection. So let's create an orange hue and saturation layer, and we'll paint that in on all the areas that the light would be hitting. I'm gonna add in an exposure layer below that orange layer as well to make everything brighter. Then I'll duplicate it and add that on top. That will give this super bright kind of color on this orange that almost gradients into a yellow, like this. Right, I couldn't add a Pokemon to this graphic without dropping in some floating Pokeballs. When you say it out loud, it's just kind of weird. But I'm gonna add this one down here, add our color correction to it, and then we just need to convert it to a smart object and give it a field blur like this. Then we'll just paint in our highlights and reflections where they need to go. We'll add in another one on this side, and we'll do all the same stuff with this one as well. I'm not gonna make you sit there and watch all that. So much of Photoshop is doing small things over and over again that make a massive difference to the overall graphic. It's fecking long, bruv. I did think to add like a little ring glow thing to the front of these. So I'll draw in an ellipse with the shape tool and just get it to fit this front part. I'll duplicate the shape, scale it down, and set the inner shape to subtract. And there you go, we have this perfect ring shape for the front of the Pokeball. Now I just need to go ahead and add an outer glow and that is looking pretty good. I did in a few more of those around the graphic. Now I just need to finish it off with some embers at the front, and I think we're done. Actually, I don't like the background mask. I've decided, I've changed my mind. So I'm gonna get the Miami logo again, scale it all the way down, and just have it kind of in the back like that. I think that suits everything a little bit nicer. And now I just think we need to add in some camera raw, and then we're done. So here's the final graphic. Listen, I know it's the old Miami jerseys, but I wanted to use the Miami Vice colors, and this year their jerseys are a bit meh. But the graphic turned out good. Random, but good. Remember, the details for my new collab series where I finish off your starter graphics will be in the description down below. You can find out where to send your PSDs and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, if you like the graphic and the video, please leave a like, drop a sub if you're new, always means a lot, and I will catch you on the next one. Peace.